Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello everyone and welcome back to The Holistic Alternative. I'm your host, Julie Ann Mejia, CEO and founder of Holistic Hemp Solutions. Today we're discussing artificial intelligence and its growing role in healthcare, research, and patient care. There's a lot of conversation surrounding AI, and we're going to help separate the facts from fiction today. It's my pleasure to welcome back Dr. Hemant Kumar Bid. Dr. Bid, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. How are you?
I'm good, Julie. How are you doing? Thanks for inviting me again, and it's always a pleasure to be here and see you and then talk with the audience about all the new and exciting stuff. And I'm looking forward for today's conversation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's get right into a little bit about your background for people that don't know you. If you wouldn't mind sharing a brief history about, your role in healthcare and what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Bid, and my background is cancer research. So my education journey is I have a bachelor's in botany and chemistry, master's in biochemistry, PhD in medical biochemistry, and second master's in pharmacology from Ohio State University. I have a couple of certifications from MIT and Harvard related to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and its application in biotechnology and healthcare. And currently that I serve as a program director for Masters of Science in Biotechnology, as well as Master of Science in Biotechnology concentration in medical cannabis at Morehouse School of Medicine. And where that, we talk about a lot of application of artificial intelligence and machine learning, because it's a growing and rapidly evolving field. There's a lot of applications are there. Of course, that, there are a lot of ethical, use of AI, and how you can use ethically is also a big challenge and a really good topic to discuss today. But definitely, I'm very, very excited because currently that in our program that we update our curriculum from last 1.5 years and incorporate all the different applications of artificial intelligence and machine learning in the field of biotechnology, where that, the core subjects are molecular biology, cell biology, and genetics, etc., and project management, biostatistics, capstone. And there are so many different applications in biotechnology we are going to talk today. Along with that, that artificial intelligence and machine learning is a very growing and budding field that it is basically evolving, but also that in the field of medical cannabis, we are also trying to take full advantage of this unique technology. Either it is in extraction, either it is in cannabis testing, either it is in formulation, or either it is in patient care. So I'm looking forward to have this discussion today, and it's an honor and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for sharing that information about your background and just some basic knowledge about AI. There's a lot of disinformation and confusion. I think people are scared about the capabilities, or they've heard incorrect things about AI. So let's talk a little bit about your personal experience with it. How did you start supporting AI, and how did you feel that it could be applicable for some of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so this is a really great question, actually. And, as I mentioned that, I'm serving as a program director for biotechnology master's program at Morehouse School of Medicine for almost now 4 years. And in the field of biotechnology, there's a huge application. And that's what our master's program is in the medical cannabis, to see through the lens of biotechnology and treat medical cannabis as a kind of like a medicine. And there's a lot of application of biotechnology with respect to either you are testing or either various different products, or either you are manufacturing, or either it's patient care. So biotechnology and medical cannabis fields are very close to each other, and there's a huge application there. So when I actually started finishing up my two certifications from MIT, then it's opened my mind to see that, like how much applications it has been. And I start kind of like, like learning more and more, digging more, and talking with our expert faculties every day to chat about that, like what we can do with our curriculum related to biotechnology as well as medical cannabis, so that the students have very advanced knowledge and updated knowledge that what's going on. Because now that, like if you have certain things in your belt with a few certifications of artificial intelligence and machine learning, along with your master's degree and PhD degree or research, etc., I think that it will give you a cutting edge advantage to be more successful in this area. So that is the thought process, and that's kind of like, like, and there are a lot of initiative at Morehouse School of Medicine that where that, like we are utilizing artificial intelligence, machine learning related to research, related to lot of, like different aspect of biotechnology and the research at Morehouse School of Medicine. So I think that, like every university, every education center, every manufacturing, every regulatory site, everybody is using it. And I think that it is important to understand the basic concept of this technology, and how good is the technology is, how the applications of this technology is, and what are the ethical challenges to use this technology is really, really critical. So that's how that I get into that. And from last year and a half, I think that, like it's been a really great journey to kind of like talk about that, incorporate all the tools in our curriculum, so that students get a very advanced knowledge, and as well as to be ready for the workforce development once they finish the master's program.
Thank you for sharing that. And I couldn't agree more. There are a lot of ethical challenges with AI. People think that they can develop on their own further beyond the code. Um, Personally using it for the past couple years, I've noticed, it's almost like treating a child. You have to train it, ethically from the beginning, give it the proper boundaries and such. What's your experience been like from an ethical standpoint of how to navigate it?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So before we jump to the ethical part, I would say that, like let's little bit talk about that, like the basic understanding of artificial intelligence and machine learning, kind of like it's just an introductory side, so that, like the listeners get to understand about the basic concept of that, right?
Would
So when
love
we
to.
talk about the artificial intelligence, so it is basically a branch of the computer science which focus on creating systems that can perform tasks that normally require the human intelligence. So when we talk about these tasks could be learning task, problem solving task, decision making task, pattern recognition task, language understanding task, image recognition, or prediction and forecasting, right? And if you think about that, like examples of use of artificial intelligence and in our daily life, people don't think about that, but it's kind of like very, very easy to understand that there are so much we use in our daily life. For example, voice assistants, Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, right? Or either self-driving vehicles, or either Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, chatbot, visual assistant, facial recognition system, medical diagnostic tools. These are all artificial intelligence, right? Now that when we talk about the machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence that enables the computers to learn from the data without being specifically programmed for every task. So that means that instead of following the fixed rule, machine learning logarithm identify the pattern in the data and use those patterns to make predictions or decisions. And it's very, very simple. Example is the traditional programs that, like if you think about traditional programming, right? Input plus rules is the equals to output, right? But in machine learning, is input plus output data is equal to logarithm learns rules, and then you go to predict new outcomes. So basically that, like it's a very uh, interconnected these two concepts are. And with when you talk about the artificial intelligence, that like any system designed to mimic the human intelligence, right? And also that when you think about machine learning, AI system learn these patterns from a data, but also that there's a deep learning, that means advanced machine learning using the neural network inspired by the human brain. But there are a lot of different kind of machine learnings are there, right? So if you think about that, that like supervised learning, so the pattern that you learn from the labeled data, for example predicting the disease risk or the cancer diagnosis or credit scoring or drug response prediction, right? So that means what will be the input will be basically the patient data.
Thank
And
you. Thank you
also,
so much for sharing that. No, we definitely need a breakdown of the differentials and what they are from a basic conceptualization.
correct. So that's why that the machine learning has various different types, and one which I mentioned, the supervised learning. So that means that like the input will be the patient data, output will be the disease is present or disease is absent, right? But then on the other hand, then there is a data, a branch of machine learning where the logarithm identify the patterns without the label outcome. So that means that examples are patient clustering, market segmentation, genomic data analysis, or biomarker discovery. So this
That's
is
great.
unsupervised learning.
Gotcha. Thank
And
you for
then,
sharing that.
yeah, and then another third part is the reinforcement learning. So that means the system learned through trial and error.
Gotcha.
And
No,
that
that's
is very
perfect.
important because it's used in the robotics, autonomous vehicles, treatment optimizations, and supply chain management.
Excellent. No, thank you for breaking that down. A lot of people watching today, they're not familiar with AI. So thank you for sharing the differentials of, machine learning and typical AI platforms.
Yeah, and the workflow also, that after that, like breaking down, I think that it is important for learners or listeners to understand the AI and ML workflow, right? That how that this workflow works. So step one will be the data collection. That's the most important part to do anything. Either it is the clinical data, either it is the genomic data, either it is the cultivation data, either it is the laboratory data, imaging data, you name it, right? And step two will be cleaning that data, because every data has a noise, right? So that means remove the errors, handle the missing values, normalize the data. The third step will be the training the model. So that means train the logarithm using the historical data. And then step four will be testing the models. So that means you can test the model to evaluate the performance of that model. And then once you know that it's performing very well, the last step will be deployment. So that means use the model in real world applications.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How can people, and I know this is skewed from a variety of different people, right, watching today, but how is it applied in everyday life? How can people use AI to support anything in their life?
Yeah, so it's basically that, like when you talk about that it's kind of like a really big question, right? Because it has so much application.
For
It's
sure.
so much application, right? So, but in a very short form, that, if you think about that in a simplest way, that so many people, every people use artificial intelligence and machine learning like zillions of time every day without even realizing it, because AI power the technologies that help us to communicate, shop, travel, learn, work, or stay healthy. And I can give you the example: smartphones. Every day we use our smartphones, and AI is working in the background for facial ID recognition, voice assistance, predictive text, spam call detection, photo enhancement, image organization, etc. Right? And then on top of that, today that we are in the streaming platform, this is also same, like like AI platforms, right? Or AI help retailers to understand the customer preferences. For example, that like when you online shopping, it data is collecting, and those application includes the product recommendation, personalized advertisement, dynamic pricing, fraud detection, right? So because if you think about that, Amazon suggests you, oh, Julie, you look this product based on your browsing history, you should look this, right? So that's really important. And then if you think about transportation, AI improved travel and navigation, Google Map, routine optimization, ride sharing services. These are all that, Google Map predicting the fastest route by analyzing the real time traffic data. Very easy. And then if you think about, the most important part is banking and finance. AI help detect fraud and improve the financial services. For example, credit card fraud, loan approval assessment, investment recommendation, or mobile banking security. But the biggest thing is that AI is continuously increasing, supporting the healthcare professional. And how it is happening? Because it's helped the medical image analysis, the prediction of various different diseases, drug discovery, and remote patient monitoring. AI literally help radiologists and pathologists to identify the abnormality in the images or X-rays or MRI scans.
So
If
that's
you think,
amazing.
yeah,
That's incredible. So they're literally assisting physicians with diagnostic protocols and just helping patient-centered care become more, you know, more sustainable for them.
for sure, for sure. And also that, as we email and communication, AI improve your communication, filtering the spam emails, predicting the response, language transition, grammar checking, etc. But also that there are a lot of homes that where that smart devices use AI to learn the user preferences. For example, that thermostat, security camera, smart light system, voice control assistant, all these things. Social media, if you think about that, news feed recommendation, content moderation, friend suggestion, advertisement targeting, etc. Biggest thing is in the education. AI help now students and educators through personalized learning platforms, intelligence tutoring systems, automated grading, language learning app, etc. So there is a huge application in our day-to-day life, if you talk about that application of AI. But also that, one of the biggest thing is that, we need to talk about that the application of AI in biotechnology and medical cannabis.
No, and I agree with that. And thank you for sharing some of those points because a lot of people they're like, I'll never use AI or they won't use an open AI, but they don't realize that they're actually using it daily. So thank you for breaking that down for viewers today.
For sure. And then now that, we talk about daily to daily life, right? And now let's kind of take a deep dive to think about, okay, if that's the case, then it would be very interesting to hear that what's going on in the field of biotechnology, right? What makes
Absolutely.
AI and ML important in biotechnology? Because if you think about that, biotechnology is basically artificial intelligence and machine learning are transforming the field of biotechnology by helping the scientists and the doctors to analyze a massive biological data set, to accelerate the discoveries, improve the healthcare outcome, and reduce the research and the developmental cost. And how they are doing that? Because biotechnology field is a really big field which basically generates an enormous amount of data from genomics research, proteomics research, metabolomic research, clinical trial research, medical imaging, electronic healthcare record, and drug discovery platform. So if you
Right.
think about that, the traditional analysis method often very much we struggle with the volume and the complexity of these data sets. But
No, it
now
totally
we,
makes sense.
yeah,
I
and
mean, from
now
the
we have,
human biome, I mean, it's exuberant, right?
yes,
So for
yes,
AI to break that down and identify certain, genes related to illness or actually look at the whole biome as a whole, I mean, that's going to be, exuberant amount of time for a physical person to go through and look at it, and it could take seconds for AI to do it. Is that correct?
yeah. So AI and machine learning can identify patterns, make predictions, and generate the insights much faster than the conventional approaches. So let's now break it down that the all different kind of data we talk about, right? How we are using that data. The first step is we are using those all this data for drug discovery and development. So that means one of the most impactful application of artificial intelligence in biotechnology is accelerating drug discovery. How? Because it can help to do faster drug target identification. It can very faster virtually screen the compounds. It can very fast doing the drug repurposing. It can predict the toxicity of the drug before even drug go to the trial. It can do the pharmacokinetic modeling, and it can do the clinical trial optimization. That means match the right patient with the right drug, right? So that
Correct.
means that AI can screen millions of chemical compounds and identify potential drug candidates in days instead of years. So that means the benefit is reduce the R&D cost, faster the drug development, and increase the success rate.
No, that's great to know. And to be honest, right, this takes it even a step further. Let's talk about quality control with AI
Yeah,
and
yeah,
how
yeah.
that supports it.
Yeah, so that's really important aspect. So let's go to the talk about the different steps in biotechnology, which will include the quality control also. So then
Let's do
after
it.
that, we talk about genomics and precision medicine. AI can help analyze the big genomic data, as you are talking about human biome, and its application is that it can help DNA sequencing analysis very fast, various different variants, that means the mutations and polymorphisms, disease risk prediction, pharmacogenomics, personalized treatment plan. So that means AI can identify the genetic mutation associated with any disease, specifically cancer, and recommend targeted therapies. So that means the benefit is that it is helping personalize healthcare, early disease detection, and improve treatment outcome with the help of analyzing the big genomic data, right? But also we talk about medical imaging and diagnosis. So AI is revolutionizing the diagnostic machines and in the medicine, because it can help in X-ray analysis, MRI interpretation, CT scan assessment, histopathology, image analysis, and cancer detection. So that means deep learning logarithm can detect tumors with accuracy comparable to experience even radiologists and pathologists. So that means it is benefiting faster diagnosis, increase the accuracy, reduce the human error. And
Oh, that's
again, that what you mentioned about the QA and QC, which comes big in biotechnology manufacturing, right? So AI improved the biopharmaceutical production and quality control. So that means its application is to optimize the process, monitor the fermentation or any kind of processes, prediction or predictive maintenance when maintenance needed of the machine, quality assurance, and supply chain management. So that means AI can predict a machine fails before it happens. So that means that you are taking care of, rather you are doing this in a preventive manner rather than therapeutic manner, right? So that means before something happen, it can detect and it tells Julie, you need to take care of and give a clean sweep to the HPLC and all the solutions and everything, because it's a time. When you do that, you are saving a lot of time to get the machine or the more dirty and get more noise in your results, right? So that means AI can predict the equipment failure before they occur. It
it's
can reduce,
crazy.
yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
reduce
It's
the,
like self-aware,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
So,
So it can reduce the downtime, improve the product quality, and lower the manufacturing cost. But also remember that like in a synthetic biology combines with the engineering, that it has a huge application, because AI can design faster, improve the efficiency, and it can create the novel biological product. But not only that, but it can help understanding the protein structure, which is critical for drug target identification, vaccine development, and also that yeah, enzyme engineering, right? So basically, AI system developed a deep mind AlphaFold. There's a lot of models are there. They can accurately predict the protein structure from the amino acid sequences. So it's amazing that like when we talk about that my application of AI and ML in biotechnology. But now that we are come to your question, that when you are talking about that, okay, because that's the big thing, that if it is helping in manufacturing, how it can help in quality assurance, right? Because quality assurance is big, because quality assurance means that focusing on making sure the product is consistently meet the quality, safety, and regulatory standards, right? So that means the automated quality control AI can analyze the manufacturing data in a real time to identify the deviations before they become a failure.
Right, absolutely. And it also supports from a manufacturing standpoint in that environment. It notifies and tells us too, when you apply it correctly, like, hey, the machinery is not working or functioning correctly. You can apply it to so many different facets of manufacturing during the process, correct?
Yeah, because like its application is like, if you think about that, batch to batch decisions making, right?
Correct.
Manufacturing process monitoring, if it is a big manufacturing system, out of specification prediction, or as you said, root cause analysis. Where is the failure? What's happened? So AI can detect the unusual temperature fluctuation during maybe cannabinoid extraction, or alert the operators before even product quality is going to affect. And I said, hey, the temperature is very high there. Or either predictive quality analytics. So that means machine learning models can predict failure quality issues using the historical manufacturing data. So that means the application could be the product detection prediction, process deviation forecasting, or when the equipment is going to fail, that prediction. So that means that it can benefit us to reduce the product recalls, improve the GMP compliance, and lower manufacturing cost. But remember that when we talk about QA and QC, one of the most important thing is management of the documentation and the compliance.
Right.
AI can help with SOP review, kappa management, audit preparation, regulatory compliance tracking. So that's like, because regulatory part is really really important either in biotechnology or either in medical cannabis. So that means that when you think about the application of AI and ML in analytical chemistry, right, that which involves the testing of the raw material and finished product, and identify the purity, potency, and safety, that like it is automatically integrate the chromatographic peak and detect the impurities when you use the HPLC to identify various different cannabinoids. So it's really making a life very very easy for the chemist and for the analytical point of view. Because if you think about the spectroscopic applications like NMR and FTIR or Raman spectroscopy or UV visible spectroscopy, AI help to identify the new compounds, structural characterization, and also that like there are big push about the stability testing in medical cannabis, right? So machine learning models can predict the product degradation, shelf life, and storage condition, which is huge. Because if you talk about that, the method development and optimization also, AI can optimize your all the method development, like either it is a mobile phase selection, column selection, sample preparation, instrument parameters, everything. So if it can help you to develop the method and optimize the method, so that means the benefit you can get is the faster method development. You are reducing the laboratory cost, but you are increasing the reproducibility.
No, and that's a great point. And, furthermore, I think it could actually help with identifying new compositions that haven't been discovered yet. And we've talked about this on a personal note. Our industry, it's so skewed. You can take one sample and go to three different labs and you get three different results. So, how do you feel AI can bridge that gap for having, the same results each time from a testing perspective?
Yeah, so that's a very important question. But again, that like it's all depends. AI can do it in the same lab, not everywhere, because lab to lab parameters are so different, right? And their standardization is different, their optimization is different. So in that bigger picture, that like if we think about that standardization, then we need more standardized policy first before even we integrate that. But if you think about that, like just a lab, then it can help a lab basically to standardize their processes in a way that like it is just kind of like set standards which AI can analyze the cannabinoid concentration, terpene profiles, batch, giving you the batch to batch consistency, right? Which is really important because prediction or predicting the cannabinoid yield based on the genotype and the environmental condition before you test is also a really big deal, right? And then also that when we talk about the contamination in the products, that AI can assist to identify or predict before time based on the historical data, that heavy metals, pesticides, residual solvent, etc. But again, you have to have a very great connections and collaborative work with the cultivations also to do that. But definitely that that's possible, but we are not there yet. But definitely it is helping to standardize the individual labs, and it supports the lab's compliance with GLP, GMP, ISO 17025, FDA requirement, state cannabis testing regulations, etc. Because it is basically that when we are talking about the generative AI, people are using that in the analytical labs to method development, SOP generation, regulatory document preparations, etc. But also that there are automated systems with AI powered automated system and processes people are setting up so that it can be automated sample preparation, robotic testing platforms, and real time quality monitoring.
Thank
Everything
you.
is coming. It's just the is so much things to align with that
For
I
sure.
think that like it takes a little bit time. And also that, as you mentioned, that the biggest thing is that, okay, if we talk about that, then we talk about medical cannabis, right? And we talk
Mhm.
about that every drug has advantage and disadvantage. So for a clinical perspective, you have to know the advantage, you have to know the disadvantage, so that you can effectively and efficiently use the drug, right? So it's the same
Exactly.
thing, that application of AI we discuss a lot because it is revolutionizing the biomedical field, medical biotechnology field, by accelerating the drug discovery, precision medicine, improving the diagnostic criteria, optimizing the clinical trials, and enhancing the patient care. But AI become very very much popular and getting integrated into the healthcare and biotechnology. But we also need to think about and talk about the significant ethical, legal, and social challenges which need to be addressed, right? Because it's really
Exactly.
important. So when you talk about that, like that AI can analyze millions of chemical compounds and biological target to identify potential drug candidates, right? But also that it is really important to understand that like, okay, when we are putting the data, what data we are putting and what kind of data we are putting, right? Because that data is the most important thing for any prediction. But also that the ethical challenges, the biggest ethical challenges is that when we are incorporating AI in a patient care, right? Patient privacy and data security is the most biggest concern. AI system require large amount of patient data. And what concern we have? The concern we have is unauthorized data access, or either data breach, or either re-identification of the anonymous data, or misuse of the genetic information. For example, that let's say that a healthcare database breach that can expose a sensitive genomic and medical records. How come we balance the innovation with the patient privacy is the biggest challenge right now. And
No, I
again,
agree with that. I
yeah,
agree with that wholeheartedly. And I think the other point too is the allopathic system. It's an older system. I think new innovative stuff that essentially could, you know, replace certain jobs. I think that's an issue within the healthcare system that, we're seeing that pushback. I
yeah.
don't know if you've seen it on your end, but I've seen it with practitioners saying, "No, I don't want to use it," and I'm trying to explain, "Hey, this can help with A, B, C, and D." But a lot of people, are slow to take on new technologies, especially in that industry.
Yeah, definitely. And like the thing is like more and more knowledge and understanding, it definitely help, because the big question we have in front of us is that how can we balance the innovation with the patient privacy? And we have solutions. Possible solutions are that either data encryption, or either secure the cloud, like storage, HIPAA compliance, and also that federated learning approaches also. But also that if you think about that, that AI system learn from the historical database.
Right.
So if database contain the bias, AI will reproduce or amplify those biases. So that
Exactly.
means quality of data is really important. For example, if there is a underrepresentation, representation of the minority population, gender bias in a disease prediction, or healthcare disparity, then you can see the consequences of unequal health outcome, misdiagnosis of certain populations, and reduce the health equity. So that means the question is that can AI provide a fair treatment recommendation for all patients, irrespective to color, irrespective to race? So
Right.
that's
No, that's great.
really, yeah, so that's really important. And then the third part is that transparency and the explanation, because many AI system operate as black box.
Right. No, I
So
think those are great points to bring up, and they're important. And I hope everyone watching today got some solid information on applications in the real world and for biotechnology research in the medical system. Because I feel, and I know you share the sentiment that AI can help tremendously when used correctly. So I can't believe it's almost we've gone through our 40 minutes almost, and I want to leave guests with your final thoughts for today, and your contact information should people want to reach out to you and talk further about AI and how they can apply it to their daily life.
yeah, so definitely that, so I think that, this is a really good conversation. There's a lot of ethical challenges are there, regulatory and compliance challenges are there, intellectual property, data ownership challenges are there, access and health equity challenges are there. Over reliance on AI is there, genetic discrimination, informed consent, that you name it, accountability and liability, transparency, and like I said that it's a black box, so data in, data out, right? So what you are feeding is there. So but definitely it has a potential. It's all about that, how we are going to ethically, safely use this, but also that everything that you have to have your own expertise to analyze those data. And there is a future is bright, but safe and sound. The future of AI in biotechnology and medical cannabis require that a lot of explanation to general public and all the users, and along with that the ethical AI governance, and that bias mitigation strategies enhance the cyber security. And that's why we are at Morehouse School of Medicine, that we are actually developing a certification on cyber security. And also that it require a diverse training data set, and also transparent regulatory framework, and also human and AI collaboration models. So that again, that at the end, that I see that AI and machine learning has the potential to transform the medical biotechnology and medical cannabis through the advances in the drug discovery, precision medicine, diagnostic, genomics, and clinical research. However, that I feel that successful implementation requires a very careful attention to the ethical principles, including the privacy, transparency, fairness, accountability, and health equity. So the future of biotechnology will depend not only on the technological innovation, but also on the responsible and ethical use of AI to improve the human health.
Thank
And
you.
it was wonderful to discuss with you, Julie, this very very rapidly and evolving area. And I always have a great time to have these discussions. And I hope that everybody has a little bit sense of that, understanding and clarity, that where we are coming from and what kind of big implication that AI has, not only in our day to day life, but in the big areas of medical cannabis and biotechnology, and also that in the clinical side also. So definitely that if anybody is interested that in the Masters of Science and Biotechnology, please visit our website. We have a 1 year fast paced Masters of Science and Biotechnology program at Morehouse School of Medicine. especially designed for those folks that who are working adults and wanted to kind of like strengthen their career or more kind of like advance in their career. But definitely there are a lot of other like students come from either biotechnology field, or either like they are looking for MD route or PA or nursing assistant, etc. But there are a lot of great opportunity in the field of medical cannabis, because you learn about the biotechnology tools and you learn about that how to apply this in the field of medical cannabis. So that's why we have Masters in Biotechnology concentration in medical cannabis at Morehouse School of Medicine. And looking forward to see that. If anybody is interested, please reach out to me, and happy to discuss and give you all the details.
Thank you so much for being here today, Dr. Bid. We appreciate your time and your enthusiasm to teach everyone. Please reach out to him if you feel his work at Morehouse would be up your alley. He's a wonderful human being. It's always a pleasure to have him. Thank you to USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacqueline and her beautiful team for all the love and support now and always. And we will see you again in a few weeks for another beautiful episode. Thanks so much.
Every great story begins with a vision. At USA Global TV and Radio for years, we've been providing world-class education, entertainment, inspiration, imagination, connections, and hope. Most people don't stay to watch the outro or the credits, but it's the people behind every success, behind every breakthrough, and behind every unforgettable story who matter. The TV show hosts, our guests, our sponsors, our publicists, our production team, our distribution team, our search engine optimization team, and so many more. You're the ones who make the difference. Every great story belongs to the people who bring it to life. Our future looks bright at USA Global TV and Radio, and that's because of you, our loyal fan base all around the world in more than 60 countries. Together, we're making a difference because you matter. USA Global TV and Radio, live streaming to over 60 countries. Voiceover, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Video production and direction, Paul Garcia. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV and Radio on YouTube.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.